Okay, it's officially 7:30. Welcome everybody to the Village of Skokie Appearance Commission meeting for Wednesday, June 8th. When you were getting your building permits, you were given instructions what we're going to be doing here today. We're going to be looking at the elevations of your house, some of the existing photos, etc., samples, and the like. On residential cases, you will, neighbors were given notice of this meeting based on the quantity of people here for 4 cases. I'm suspecting there might be a couple neighbors here. If there are neighbors here and they want to speak, or if they want to observe, that's fine. If they want to speak, when Commissioner DeMario stands to swears everybody in, please stand and be sworn in. When I call your case, come up and stand at either one of the 2 podiums, and we'll be asking you questions, and you can give us some direction on what you're doing. With that said, why don't we swear everybody in? Anybody who's going to testify tonight, please rise. Anybody who's going to speak. If you're not going to speak and you're just here to observe, feel free to remain seating.
All right, it's real easy to testify. All right, do you swear or affirm the testimony you give tonight to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Thank you very much.
Before we start, does somebody want to make a motion to approve the minutes from the prior meeting?
I make a motion that the meeting minutes from May 11th be approved as written.
Give me a second. Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, a little more housekeeping. So if I call a residential case, which of the first 2 are, if there is a neighbor who wants to speak, come up and stand at either one of the podiums as well. When I call a case, Commissioner DeMario will also read into you the record comments we get from the Village's Community Development Department. We take those comments into our consideration as we're going through. We only have 4 cases. This should go pretty quickly, provided we're not sending anything back for redesign. With that said, I'm going to call the first case, case 2022-028A at 8530 Keeler Avenue. The applicant is James Chambers. It's a 1st and 2nd floor addition and facade.
The staff has no objections to the design.
What are we doing?
So that's the addition there? You wanna,
Yes, so
Is
we're
that,
adding
is
just,
that the Keeler facing side?
correct.
yes,
Okay.
it is. We're adding just a little bit of a foyer there.
Okay. That's it?
Yes, yeah, and there's a colored, yeah,
Yeah,
version.
okay. Matching all the existing materials?
Yes,
Going to clean up the shutters, or probably replace them all
that's right.
on
yeah.
the roof?
Windows as
Okay,
well.
Yeah. Okay. It's slam dunk. It's probably 30 yards off of the street, too. That rendering doesn't even bring into the fact you got landscaping in front and all that, so.
Sure.
Does that cornice work match the entry to the right as well?
I'm sorry, would you say that again?
The cornice, I'm sorry if that's the wrong word,
Yeah.
does that match the treatment to the entrance to the right?
Yes, that cornice detail is repeated at the front entrance and also the secondary entrance there
Cool.
on the right.
Thank you.
Yeah, now you're adding 2 more dormers, correct? That
That's
aren't there?
correct.
Yeah.
Those things are called out there on the slide, or the image,
Yeah,
right
the one you
above
just
there, the
passed.
proposed, yeah.
But let's just go,
Sorry.
yeah, I see, yeah, that's the original. Yeah, it
That's
looks-
existing,
better.
yeah. There, excuse me.
Yep.
Yeah, just above the colored one there. Yeah, so we're adding 2 dormers. The interesting history of this too, it was originally designed and built to address the golf course and not the street. The street elevation was treated more like a rear elevation. And so we're trying to change some of that and bring some more interest back to the front.
It's Walter Alschuler's house.
The what?
Walter Alschuler, the original
really?
architect of the golf club.
Yeah.
It was his house. So, okay, so yeah, I mean, it's probably 100 years old in that neighborhood, so. Anybody have any comment? Go ahead, Joe.
I've got a question and a comment. Are you doing anything with the coach house? Or is that another phase?
That's another phase. We're not doing anything
Yeah.
with that right now.
Okay. And the comment is, actually two comments. It's a really nice job.
Oh, thank you.
It kind of addresses everything. I walk by it every day. Second comment is if you got rid of the chain link fence,
Oh.
it would sing.
Yeah, right.
Can you write that down and note so my wife?
Yes. If you want, we'll make it a condition of the approval.
I would agree.
Wrought iron.
Unfortunately for you, this is being video recorded, so she could probably go back and look at this, so, but yeah, okay, great. Go ahead, Joe, why don't you,
That's it.
go ahead and make a motion then.
All right. I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted for case number 2022-2028A, 8530 Keeler, as presented.
Second.
Yeah, that's it.
Anybody, okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed, so passed. All right, great, thank you, guys. Case 2022-029A, an addition at 6855 Leclerc Avenue, first and second floor residential addition.
Staff has no objections to the design. East and south elevations must be submitted to be reviewed, and the apron must be removed.
Which he did, so, or which he supplied those elevations.
I have a copy if you need them.
Yeah, no, Brian's gonna throw it up.
So the addition is above this existing one-story, and then a two-story addition back here. And then this garage gets converted to a living space that gets changed, so there'll be a window there. I'll show you the elevations. Driveway, apron, all have to get removed.
That's Leclerc and what?
Morse.
Okay, southwest.
That's the existing house facing Leclerc.
The bottom two are actually two others that we just finished right on the corner.
Addition, driveway, apron must come out. That gets converted. There's some little, I've been to this property before. There's some little add-on in front of the garage.
Yeah, that's all gone, yeah.
That's covering up a window that was a little odd when I saw it. And then a second floor addition, first floor.
The first floor, we're actually pretty much, it's on a slab, so we're gutting and demoing the whole thing, new basement, everything.
That's facing Morris.
Yes,
East facing the neighbor. West facing Leclerc. That's the old garage. That's the south, if you're in the backyard towards the garage alley facing.
The opposite elevation, right?
the perspective.
Okay, so this will not have a garage then?
There is a detached in the corner.
Okay, that's,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, parking requirements.
Yeah,
met.
now it's difficult to get in, so we're gonna close
Yeah.
off that side and do one off the alley. Need to run.
Anybody have any comments?
I have questions.
Oh, yeah, you are free to come up as directed.
Actually, kind of practical questions. I am the neighbor to the east,
Uh-huh.
so I'd like to see the east elevation again,
Sure.
only because it was not on the website.
Yeah,
that
I know,
looked.
this was it. So you're not gonna have a bunch of windows looking at you other than
Okay,
in the rear
that's
of the
great. And we
house.
don't have-
It's actually
we don't-
done that way for you.
Yeah,
And that's great, because we only have one window on
Yeah.
that side too, because we're very close.
Yeah.
So in addition to that, I have some questions. Where will all the construction people be parking their cars when they come to do the
On the
work?
corner, unfortunately,
On Morse?
on Morse and on Leclerc.
Okay.
That's not on the purview of our committee. I understand that that's a logistical thing. but-
It's very tight, and we live right
Yeah.
around the corner, and with people with multiple cars in our neighborhood,
Yeah,
it becomes a problem.
yeah, I mean, if you run into enforcement issues, you're gonna have to just dial,
Okay,
call
that's
non-emergency and go, hey, what can we do, or work
Okay.
it out
Oh,
with
and
the
one thing,
contractor.
how were we supposed to have been notified? Because we saw a sign on a tree. Were we supposed to be notified by mail?
Brian?
I verified with one of the secretaries. She gave me the addresses of all the notifications that were mailed out. The house to the east was on that list.
We never got any notification. And if
I-
it wasn't for
I
this sign?
I apologize.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, that's
Yeah.
because, I mean, I'm assuming
We
150 feet around this home, people had to be notified.
No.
We asked our neighbor across the street, they didn't
not-
get notified.
Just, we only notify the abutting properties now.
Okay,
for
so that would
zoning-
just be us,
for
because there's
correct.
nothing
For zoning board of appeals cases, it's a 250-foot requirement. But we've had enforcement letters get mailed out and people are given 2 weeks' notice, and then 7 to 9 days later, they get the letter, unfortunately. I
Okay, well, we
verified-
still have not gotten a letter.
I'll-
I just want to be clear
Sure, no,
about that.
thanks for giving them that
Yeah,
feedback.
because that's pretty important.
Yeah,
It's not
I-
on the homeowner, that's on the village
Right.
to
yeah.
do that, but in any event. Another question I have is time frame. What is the time frame for this project, start to finish?
The last two we did, both of them finished within 7 to 8 months.
7 to 8
So I
months.
assume that we'll probably start within the next 60 days. So we plan to be finished by spring.
Okay,
March.
because I see your stuff all over our neighborhood. You, you take one-story homes and make two-story homes out of
Well,
them.
that's
Some of us
some
who
of
are
it.
older like the one-story homes, but anyways, that's a different story. Okay, so about 7 months, starting in the
7
next,
to 8, but yeah, no, it's.
or whatever,
In the
but,
spring, we'll be done in March, April.
okay, but you're starting basically
Hopefully
summer?
the next 60
Well, he's got to
days.
get a permit first, so,
As
Okay.
long as the permit review time goes okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you're gonna start this
Oh, yeah.
late summer for sure.
Late summer, okay, okay. What about porta potties?
Yes,
Where are you gonna keep that?
inside the chain link fence.
Perfect. I don't want
Outside will be contained.
closer to Leclerc, not to us, I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
space
Well, there's a
permitted,
pool
yes.
there, so you can't.
Yeah, probably by the driveway side, I think we would put
Okay.
it on the side. yeah.
Perfect. Just want to make sure it's out of sight. And then what about trash?
Dumpsters.
Okay, and what about like trash that flies out of the dumpsters? Who's going to be cleaning that up?
I mean, we try and keep a very clean site. I can only control what's around.
Okay,
So-
and if we have issues with that, we
Call-
call
you
you
call-
or we call
call
the
the building-
village?
right, here's
Call the
what
building
here's
department.
what I said, these are all very good questions, okay? But if you do have issues like that, the village will have the
Okay, I just
contractor's
wanted-
information, and it's up to the building department to make sure he stays with that,
Okay.
whoever the contractor is, if he is the contractor.
That's
stay-
fine. I
Stays
just-
within,
yeah.
the village ordinances
I
for
just
that.
want to know who I'm calling.
Building
Because
depart-
inevitably
if
it's
you're-
going to.
Call the building department,
Okay.
say,
Yes.
if you have any complaints or compliments.
I'm sure you'll also.
But, yeah,
Well, because I have
They'll
been
be
around the
there.
neighborhood and I have
Right.
seen these rehabs, so
yeah.
I'm just
I-
concerned about that.
I get it.
And then my last question is watershed. We have a big problem. We are the lower point. Now, the village did do some grading in the alley, which helped a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but then our neighbors put in a pool. They have a backyard of grass. There's no
Mm-hmm.
absorption whatsoever. And since the pool was installed,
Right.
we've always had a problem on the east, the southeast corner.
Right.
Now we have it east and west.
Is this even taking any more footprint?
Yeah,
Actually, the
it's,
pool is getting rid of it.
What's that?
The pool is getting rid, and we're substantially under our lot count ratio.
Yeah, so his floor area ratio is substantially low. There was a swimming pool on this?
There
Gone now.
is.
Yes, there is, but it's being demoed.
It's, so the pool will be
Okay.
gone, that'll help all the
Okay.
absorption.
It,
so any
Right.
stormwater from the roof is gonna have to either come out here or out this way.
I
Well-
think we had planned on
It's-
taking and doing
it's-
a perforated drain out to the street.
okay, so yes, obviously, I assume you know how to shed water, because we had an issue with our neighbor,
Right.
with their gutters pointing directly in
Sure.
our direction, and
So-
we had a whole big hoopla over that.
Right, so under
I
new
don't-
construction, this will be better because the village's engineering department,
But are we making a basement? Are you extending a basement?
Yes, I am.
So that's gonna be,
yeah, but it'll still be less square footage
Okay.
probably than the square,
Well, I
than the
guess we'll
pool,
s-
so you're probably getting a net gain
okay,
in absorption.
I hope so.
So do I. But I'll tell you, is the village's engineering department reviews all this stuff, make sure all drainage, no matter how this was drained in the past, any drainage now will be going to the street. So
Okay.
it won't be toward you.
That's great.
That doesn't mean that there's not gonna be a low spot that might puddle in a 2-inch rainstorm.
We
I
have a
have it in
low,
my
like I
yard.
said, we always had a low spot
I'm
in
just-
the
right.
southeast corner.
Yeah.
They are to our west, and
Right.
now we have ponding there, which we didn't have before. So as long as we can fight one thing and not the other. All right, I think that's it for me.
All right, thanks very
Thank
much for
you.
coming in, we appreciate it. Anybody have any commentary based on what we saw? All right, Tom, you wanna make a motion?
Sure. I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted in case number 2022-029A at 6855 Leclerc Avenue as presented.
Anybody second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed, so passed.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Good luck.
be a good neighbor. Or I should say, be a good contractor to your neighbor. I know, thank you. All right, so this is kind of two different sites, very similar structure, but we'll call the first one, and we'll probably have conversations about them both a little bit. Are these both Zaz Holdings as well?
They're related affiliates, yes.
Okay.
Zaz has Howard and McCormick.
But you're here to represent both cases?
Both of them, yes.
Okay. And everybody here is related to this? Okay, good. All right, so I'll call the first case, 2022-030A, new construction at 8939 Grosse Point Road. Tom, if you want to...
Yes, staff has some concerns with the overall design. If the towers do not serve a purpose, such as housing equipment or providing storage for the car wash, it is recommended that the southern tower be removed and the northern tower be reduced in height from the 35 feet shown. Recommended changes to all 4 facades, including adding limestone and/or other brick detailing, such as changing the brick pattern to provide shadow lines to break up the vast expanse of brick. The final size of the site is not yet known at this time, as ownership and right-of-way dedication sizes are in progress. Therefore, relief from section 82-27 or 82-28 of the sign code is to be determined. If section 82-27 applies, the site is less than 1 acre, 1 wall sign each on the north and west facades are allowed. Alternately, if section 82-28 applies, the site is greater than 1 acre, only 1 sign is allowed on the north elevation. The petitioner is to provide the sign 1 and sign 4 designs at the meeting. This development will be subject to Plan Commission review at a future meeting date.
Okay, so we have this case, which is the replacement of the existing car wash on Grosse Point Road. Then there's another one on Howard, almost identical building design, different size. A couple other features are different, but, so let's hammer out this one. And when we're talking about this, I think we're probably gonna be talking about a couple of similarities with the other one. So, obviously, those towers are not housing equipment, they're there to hold signs, right, and stay up. I don't personally have an issue with that. We've got a mall on Toohey that does the same thing. Is this the Grosse Point facing?
This is Grosse Point on the west side.
Right, okay, so it's
Yeah.
facing Grosse Point.
Yes.
And what are those bays? Are those just vacuum bays?
Those are vacuum bays under a sunshade that covers about half the parking space.
But it's vacuum bays, or is it self-wash?
The car wash is,
All automated?
it's all
But
automated.
these aren't self-serve, wash your own car bays?
No, they're
These are all for
vacuums.
vacuuming?
All
Okay.
vacuums. And by the way, my name's Mark Daniel.
Okay, sorry.
I should have introduced myself when I first
No
stepped
worries.
up. But I've been working on this project for quite some time. There were points where it had lingered a lot. We lost somebody on the design team to COVID, and I'd now and then call staff just to keep familiarity. So I do appreciate the help they've given. I think on the towers, you're right. There is an architectural element to them. There are mezzanine storage areas in one of the 2 towers at each site. On Grosse Point, it's a different situation than on Howard. On Grosse Point, if we need to drop the south tower a few feet, we're fine with that. Let's say
It's
we
the
drop
tower
it
on the
to-
right, correct?
Yes,
That's the entryway to the automated wash.
that's correct.
Okay.
On the north side of the car wash, where the exit is, we'd prefer to keep the tower there. That you've got the crossing, you've got the curve in Grosse Point Road, and the appearance of the building is pretty important at that location. And that's where the mezzanine storage will be. On the building design itself, I think with the application, we provided you with 2 plans from a landscaping perspective. Let's start with the east elevation, which is on top. Well, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to stick with the slides.
East faces the Skokie Swift tracks. I don't think we're
Correct.
overly concerned about that.
But we do have landscaping
Yeah.
on that side.
Okay.
So it's landscaping for probably 60 to 70% of that wall, maybe 80. Then you get the vacuums on the other side that will break up that wall. But this is the landscape plan that we're pursuing there, so you can
Okay.
see that screening. If we need to use shadows on the upper areas of the towers on the projects, we can do that if necessary. I think on the front, the north end at the exit on Grosse Pointe, it may make sense to do it between those piers on the corners of the tower. Because you can see there'll be a sign there on the exit, and there is a large wall space that the sign will not completely cover, so I think shadowing that may make some sense, and
Okay.
and the owner's willing to do that.
Does anybody have any comment just basically on those, the Grosse Pointe, this elevation and the Grosse Pointe facing elevation? Is anybody
It's
put
the-
off by the tower heights or one tower versus the other? I think lowering one, 35 feet. Is it
Correct.
35 to the top?
35 to the top.
By lowering, is it the north elevation that you're talking about lowering?
No,
Okay.
the south.
South,
On the
okay.
He said they're willing to do the south, but
Yeah, so if you scroll down just a little bit to see, okay, so that's the south elevation. You know, the brick wouldn't be if that's lowered, the amount of brick isn't gonna be as noticeable or pronounced.
this is the entry, right?
This is the entry on the bottom.
And then the exit on the top.
Correct. So, and the bottom is facing a
South.
large storage area to the south. A lot of truck parking, some outdoor storage, probably some lingering uses that don't necessarily meet your commercial regulations for the district, but they're non-conforming. But one way or the other, we can bring it down a few feet, and, you know, we'd hope it would be fine.
You're saying just one or both of them?
The south one we would bring down.
Yeah, I
Yes.
don't know that would look,
Yes,
balance.
staff was a little mixed on that comment, but the one concern was just everybody was a little concerned with just all the brick, doing something to break it up a little bit if the heights stay the
and
same.
they'd love to slap signs up there.
You know, one of the things that I think would help this, I think it's a vast improvement. And I think that especially coming from the south going north, the presence of the building, you're right, that tower is it's gonna look a lot better than it does now. So as you're driving by, you're not gonna really see, it's gonna be a quick, unless you're standing across the street or walking by, that elevation is not, it's kind of a 35-mile-an-hour landscape there.
Yeah.
One thing that may help, and I don't know how the setbacks work here, or how close you are, but just above the exit or the exit onto Grosse Pointe, but maybe by just doing a canopy or an awning over the exit.
That makes sense.
Could help, and. it
Maybe
would-
on both sides.
Yeah, it just,
Entry and exit, because
you know, and you've got, if you mimic the material that you use at your vacuum, or the color or something, that way, if you do have a sign above it, it still kind of breaks it up a little bit, and I think it would do a more three-dimensional job than just changing the brickwork.
Right, we have
So-
wrapped the car washes since this one was designed with some metal for the canopy, so that it does match those canopies, the sunshades. We've also done it in the gloss aluminum appearing metal. We could wrap the corners, and we could put it directly over the entrance or exit, depending on what the preference is.
Yeah. And the color of the utility doors, is that gonna match the brick, or is that gonna be just left gray?
You know, I think as far as the utility doors are concerned, there's been an interesting approach that we've taken on the last two applications, believe it or not. We found that a dog wash is often preferred inside these car washes, which means if we do that, we would likely use glass on the frontage side.
You would use glass.
We
that
would use
explains
glass.
all the vacuums.
Okay, I
Bring in
just
your
changed your
dogs.
words.
I know, we would use, yeah.
Well, you know, the fact that it's a front elevation and a utility door, they get banged up, they look terrible.
Understood.
if it is a dog wash station, or if it is tempered glass, or whatever you need, Grosse Pointe is a busy road. It's an important elevation, even though it's, so I would recommend that be at least upgraded from your standard utility door.
Right, and it will still stay as a double door. That's where the equipment's gonna be
Yeah, but
loaded into.
if it's solid hollow metal, paint it to match the brick or whatever, you know.
Another option would be to use a single door and then rotate that metal around to the vacuum side if we needed to. That's another option.
Oh, I see, yeah. Yeah, if, just to improve the elevation that
Right.
faces. Now, if you're doing it on the vacuum side, it's gonna be noticeable as you're driving from the south, north. So then it kind of,
True. True. I think we can still have a glass door if necessary, so we can sort that out. I think the International Building Code allows that, unless there's a local amendment I'm not aware of.
You're talking about like a aluminum framed glass front?
Correct.
Okay.
yeah, I don't think with a commercial, I'm sure it's gotta be tempered retail glass, but I don't think it
Yeah,
is.
just a storefront, aluminum storefront door.
Yeah.
So what am I hearing? I'm hearing we're good with the tower balance as is, and we'd like to see awning work across the entry and exits? Is that what I'm hearing? Everybody,
Yeah, I like that.
and Joe, is that kind
Yeah,
of what you're hearing too?
Yeah.
I don't think you need to mess with the brick then, if you have
So-
the brick up.
And the utility door.
Right, and was there any other comment on this one? Because I don't want to vote on this one just yet. I want to look at the other one. Because we might see something on the other one we want to put on this one.
That's fine.
So, but I think, in this case though, can we just drop this one and?
Sure.
Come back.
Can I kind of simultaneously call the other one, or can we just kind of purview it and I don't need to call it?
Well, let's not continue this, but.
No,
yeah.
let's just throw up the other drawings and talk about it. I won't call it, but let's just throw it up.
Sneak peek.
Sneak peek.
So Howard and McCormick,
Yep, very industrial there.
this would be the gas station on the west side being removed. Parking lot, gas station, this would be the drive-up lane. Building is more in the back, in the south center of the lot. So the new building would be here.
This is the existing site plan you're telling me?
No, this is the proposed.
So
It's up against a storage facility?
correct.
Yeah,
Say a
storage
3-foot
facility is
building or
here, the old Grand Prix gas station, convenience store is here. This would become the parking lot, parking area, drive up here, drive through, exit out. Shell stays the same, gas pumps stay the same.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what's proposed. That's where some of the discussion will take place. I
Okay.
think.
So south, north, east, so.
Yeah, that's all plan review stuff. I just want,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
let's just take a look at your bill, and the building is like identical, is that what you're telling me? Relatively? or-
Virtually identical. There's less attention, well, actually, it is fairly identical, you're right. It's fairly identical. One tower has.
Other than you've got
has-
signage differences. So-
Correct, because the angles, the lines of
Right.
sight are different, and there's
Okay.
wasted wall space that we're never gonna give visibility to.
Are they both called Prestige, or are they different?
One's prestige, one's awesome.
Okay. Okay.
And one more thing, is the awning going to match the brick color or?
Well, now we gotta decide on this one if, now that he's got signage over the entry, let me just see something here. Is there anything in the notes here about anything non-conforming on this case? Same kind of wall sign issues, right?
Yeah, north, one wall sign allowed on north and east elevation.
And is it non-conforming as submitted?
Well, they have two signs on the north elevation, free vacuums and the Prestige.
And the free vacuums used to be posted on the sunshade or the pay station, and it was treated as directional signs in some other communities. We've gauged a preference of having a wall sign that's less dominant than the the trademark and logo. But as far as the.
It's pretty big for saying less dominant.
Yeah, it's a big sign. The only thing that we've got here is that there's a narrow corridor, and we're trying to keep traffic on site somewhat directed and controlled. If the sign needs to be a little bit smaller, it's not a huge problem. It's not a problem to necessarily discuss shifting it. I would have to take a look at where we would shift it. If we shift it one panel to the right because we're making it smaller, I think we're running into trouble with visibility because of one of the sunshades in the easternmost vacuum aisle.
So Brian, let's screw it up just a hair. I mean, can't it, up the other way, the
Oh,
other
sorry.
up? Right there. All right. So is go down just one. That one conforms?
Is that the east elevation?
Yes.
One wall sign is allowed on the north or the east elevation. So they need relief on a second wall
So
sign.
we'd have to
Well,
decide whether he can do it here. Or whether we would have to
recommend.
approve it for the next station.
Correct.
And I think what's going on here is that some background might help. What we're trying to do is pursue what would be essentially a two-lot planned development. And we're reducing some access, limiting access, and trying to have shared drive aisle space.
It's gonna be a tight site.
It's gonna be a tight site.
Right.
It is. But, I think at least the two large wall signs are critically important. If we have to work on the free vacuum sign, it's possible that we could lower it and put it at the lower end of the middle vacuum area. We've got 3 rows of vacuums, and the middle one has a bit of an island at the north end of it. That's possible. I somewhat prefer the wall sign over having a freestanding or ground sign in that setting where you've got traffic movement down below.
I just wanted to kind of get a peek at this one, so.
And then this sign will also need relief if this is over 25 square feet.
Is it?
Every indication is yes.
Yeah, it's the existing sign, we're trying to repurpose it, so.
That's 40 square feet, the changeable portion. They're allowed the 2 ground signs because it has 2 street frontages, so there's a sign in the corner. This existing sign at the actual corner, the northeast corner, so they will be allowed the 2 ground signs, which this would be further west along Howard, close to the west lot line. So it's no issue having the 2 signs on the site with the
But
frontage.
this sign exists.
As to its
That's-
size.
As
the-
to
the
its size.
panel.
That's what's there right now, because
Because of multi-tenant?
they're two different properties currently.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the building where the car wash, or the
That's the
Grand Prix
sign.
was a multi-tenant building.
Yeah.
That's the
Right.
sign right now. Yeah, car wash, the Shell right now has the Shell convenience store, gas, and car wash. The other one, the convenience store, they don't have a car wash currently, correct?
No car wash, but
Grand
there was
Prix.
another rental, it's a huge building.
Yeah, they
And
had,
So the south, the north
rent-
end of
they-
the building was not a convenience store.
they may have rented trucks or something there.
But this is showing brick, whereas the photo does not show brick.
Right, and is that brick gonna match the car wash, or is it gonna match the shell?
And
It would match the car wash.
so you're saying you're building a new sign, but you want to keep it the same sign as the other one, same size as the other one?
The sign is being repurposed, we're building the monument around the poles. As far as,
That's pretty big. It's pretty big. All right, so,
So
all right,
that's 14 and a half feet tall.
I guess I'm seeing a lot more glitz and glitter on this one than I am on Grosse Pointe, and that's why I kind of wanted to look at this one and now kind of go back to Grosse Pointe.
so can I just
Sure.
talk about the sign for
Sure.
a little bit longer? There are 2 things about this PUD and the community amenity. One issue is this display, okay, with the digital display component. We've also got a middle area of the property where there could have been a public amenity on one of the fence lines between the corner and this sign for the Village of Skokie to utilize. In this case, we thought that the larger sign, in addition to being part of the car wash operation, could handle public event or notices or community announcements. On a small site like this in an industrial area, you're not gonna find a lot of public amenity. We can't create a park or a garden. So this is what we're kind of dealing with, and we thought that that digital sign component would be an element that could be attractive, given that there's a lot of traffic in the area, and it's a transition into the park space across the street on the east side of McCormick. So on that sign, you know, it is tall, it is the existing sign, it's just the change in the panel makes it look different with the digital.
Well, and plus we had pretty rigorous restrictions on digital.
Yes,
So it's, nothing flashes, none of that, you know what I mean?
understood,
It's-
and we
it's-
would need relief for it, I mean,
Right.
it's part of the,
Right. Okay, understood. So let's go look at the case that's called. Let's go back to the original drawing. I just wanted everybody to kind of get a flavor, because although they're similar, there's a couple different things. So now we're going back to the case that's called, which is Grosse Pointe Road. And I guess, like on this drawing, I don't, unlike the other drawing, this doesn't say enter and exit on the building. There's not a sign that says that, unless that's handled in some other fashion.
that should be in the sign package.
It's not on the drawing.
But I'm just saying, it's not in the elevations, Mark.
Yeah,
I'm
there
not
will
sh-
be entrance and exit.
Okay, identical to the other one?
Yeah,
Okay. So like this, yeah, blow that up, Bri. A little bigger. So this has the same thing, you wanna have this, but this is, I'm sorry, what's the name of it? What car wash?
this one's Awesome Car Wash.
Awesome. I gotta ask, why are they two different names? Not that it's any of my business, I'm just curious.
In part, there was different ownership.
Okay.
And we had a different investor. We were gonna bring Skokie and Howard in under two different names and two different property owners, and since then, the property ownership has changed because of the pandemic, just prolonging
Okay.
things.
One owner wants awesome, the other one wants prestige. And then the $4, that's gonna be a permanent sign that's here, I mean,
Or it'll be amended. It could be 5 if stagflation occurs or something to that effect.
Right.
It's one of those things that we're gonna be looking at, but
but I'm just saying it's permanent,
yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah, if it's part of the, officially, technically, if it's part of the business name or DBA, or it's, we have to allow it.
okay.
So if they come in as the business, you know, the certificate of occupancy is $4 Awesome Car Wash on their certificate of occupancy, that's different than if it's John Smith's Car Wash. So,
Okay. And, I'm sorry, I'm the one firing all this. The free, just to help me understand the free vacuum sign, you know, that's not as prominently shown on the rendering as the name of the car wash. Is that intentional? Is that not backlit? Is it just,
It's lit, but it's not as bright. It's not as prominent.
okay, I've asked enough questions. Anybody else have any other questions?
So if there's an exit sign or an entrance sign, I think a canopy is gonna block that unless it's high enough, you know?
Well, it'll have to be coordinated.
Enough
I
so
mean, you
there's
could put, you
space.
could probably put it under, you could probably have the canopy a little higher and have the
could it
sign
be on the
lower.
Or it could be on the canopy.
Or it could be
directly on it.
Integrated.
One of the things that we're doing on this site plan, you've got a pretty broad entrance and exit driveway in this location. We're changing that a bit, so you're gonna have a right out directly north of the car wash. So you don't have the same risk that you have today that someone could turn in that driveway and possibly go the wrong way. They'll have to come in on
Like it
the
currently
west
is?
side of the
Yeah.
property. And to go south on Grosse Pointe, they're gonna have to exit the car wash, turn left, and go to the left turn lane at the west driveway. So it's changing things a little bit. You cannot turn left directly out of the car wash. We needed to create more of a throat for traffic purposes. So the signs will be there. We'll create separation above the metal canopy that we're talking about so that it's visible.
Does anybody have any other commentary here? So it sounds like, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, we want some sort of a canopy and the entry and exit elevations that complement it in color. And then if nobody has any problem with the signages, as we can recommend it for the next committee to it's planning.
Yeah, these will both go to Plan Commission.
They'll go to Plan Commission for them to bicker about the signs.
And I think all monument material must match the car
Yeah.
wash building, is what also was said.
Do you guys understand that to be all the comments so far?
Yep.
And agree with all those, or?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the signs at this location.
All right,
It's-
fire away.
I
The last
moved
to
it.
speak gets to make the motion.
I moved that a certificate of appropriateness be careful. And you be careful too, because it could be dangerous. Appropriateness be granted for case number, here we go.
38.
2022-030A, located at 8939 Grosse Point. Subject to the following: awnings to be designed at the entrance and exit to integrate the design with the building, materials to be determined. And glass utility door, particularly facing Grosse Point. And there was something else.
We're okay with the signs.
Yeah.
It was the signs were
Yeah.
okay.
With those modifications.
Anybody second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed, so passed. All right, that case is taken care of. Case number 2022-031A, new construction at 3301-3307 Howard Street, new commercial building. Comments, Tom?
The staff has some concerns with the overall design. If the towers do not serve a purpose, such as housing equipment or providing storage for the car wash, it is recommended that one of the towers be removed. Changes to the remaining tower are recommended, such as shortening its overall height from the 35 feet shown and adding a limestone and/or other brick detailing, such as changing the brick pattern to provide shadow lines to break up the vast expanse of brick. Improvements to the existing building at 3301 Howard must be made, as the existing car wash will no longer be used, and two buildings in the same development must have design details that complement each other. One wall sign is allowed on the north or east elevation. Any other signage, including signs or on other facades, and the large, greater than 25 square feet, electronic message center component of the ground sign will require relief from the sign code, including section 82-24 and 82-28. The site has two street frontages, therefore, two ground signs are allowed. This development will be subject to Plan Commission review at a future meeting date.
So, this one's a little different, and I like the elevation we're looking at now. I don't know that it needs an awning. Right? Is that, am I standing on McCormick looking at that?
Correct. This
Okay.
is McCormick at the south entrance into the shell. The theoretical division or lot line would be about where the hood of that red car is,
Uh-huh.
and it would jog west and go behind the shell building. And then you would have the car wash lot on the west side of that lot line with the shell on the east with cross access. We do show the building being preserved in its existing condition. Obviously, the canopy trade dress is very important, and the pump trade dress is very important. That's gonna remain. The wall trade dress will remain the same. I believe staff's comment is that we should try to match the masonry components with the car wash on the shell building. As far as what you have in the area, it is a lot different than what you have on Grosse Pointe Road. You've got truck storage, semis and whatnot on the west side, and then you got a 30-foot steel flat roofed or
Right.
flat elevation on the south side of the property, and MWRD to the north. On this side, if we were to match the shell building, we would have to wrap it in a similar style of an exterior. We would not be wrapping the poles, and you wouldn't wrap the poles in this case. It wouldn't be feasible.
I
And
don't know that, I mean,
there's going to be a disconnection.
yeah,
Even
it's,
if we wrap the building, is what I'm trying to say. It's not safe to
we're,
wrap the
we're,
poles.
I think we're trying to make the dog match the tail.
There may be a simple way of doing it, whether it's, I don't know if you call it on a gas station at Cornice, where you've got your sign, the orange and yellow. So if you go, yeah, see that orange and yellow above your entrance windows and your entrance door. But on either side, maybe that strip on the top of the gas station mimics, and, you know, materials are gonna be tough, but you've got a different, yeah, I don't know how you do it. I'm looking above the free vacuum stuff you see there.
So if you were to look at it, I think the potential could be that we might be able to add highlights to the wall in certain places.
To this?
To the lower portion of this elevation, maybe not above the roof line. I don't know how the materials would be secured. I don't know the parapet strength or how it's tied down right now, but if we were to pick an area along the entry facade, which is the dominant facade here, we'd have a situation where it's facing the bike path across McCormick, and you've got some of the highlights that are consistent with that car wash. I don't think wrapping the whole building is a very good idea in this instance, though I appreciate it. It's just not gonna really work well.
So, getting back to the signs, the free vacuum, kind of poster board you have, or the canvas sign you got, those all go away since all that's moving on the other side? Or do those free
Oh,
vacuums
those would all
stay?
go away.
That all?
The gas station
okay.
stays on its own. Those parking spaces will be shifted to the north, and that'll actually be a drive aisle that you're looking at there under the new plans. So that is changing a bit there. The
So that-
vacuums are gone.
Potentially is gonna be a blank wall. It's a little different location, but it is an entrance to Skokie. It's an eastern entrance to the village. And I understand why, you know, you're making improvements, and, you know, you're making a pretty substantial improvement to half of the site. You're cleaning up the backside for us with the Grand Prix. That actually is gonna benefit everybody. But while while you're here, is there something we can do to just help with the facade of this existing gas station? So now's the time for us to ask. And what that is, I think, it doesn't have to necessarily be, you know, you don't have to skin the whole thing, but there's gotta be something clean and simple that we can do. If that's gonna be a drive aisle, a lot of people are gonna be driving past that. It's gonna be a windowless wall. Right now, it's white with a gray bottom, and the flashy new car wash is gonna be masonry. It's gonna be brick. I'm assuming some type of, whether it's block or whatever. It's gonna be a new and shiny. And this is gonna be 1970s shell.
Why don't we skin the elevations on the frontage sides and see if
The
that
two we're looking
works.
at, right?
All right, so why don't we do that, and then we'll update or repaint the south and west.
That makes sense.
We would be keeping the parapet, in your view, as white with the shell highlights. I mean, we could certainly stripe the entire parapet with the trade dress. That's another option, but I think the parapet's gonna be a slight question on this one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's easy to skin the parapet in this case.
Yeah, I think skinning the parapet, if it's masonry, it would have to be something like ephes, otherwise it just looks too heavy and you'd need lintels and all that crap. But in this case, I think just figuring out a motif that matches the, something on the car wash. I noticed you've got the Prestige car wash, is that blue as well? Because now you have blue, yellow, orange. And then you've got the new sign. You know, it's, I don't know, I, as long as you skim it just update the gas station from the, kind of this 1970s franchise.
That's fine.
I think it's gonna improve your investment a lot, too.
Yep.
All right, so north and east, and then we'll work on the parapet and drawing something consistent from the car wash that carries over without interfering with the trade dress and creating
Yeah.
a kaleidoscope.
Yeah, you've got, I mean, you've got the shell, that's your franchise, that's what you've gotta do, so we understand that. So as long as they integrate together, the cobalt blue that was on the other $4 probably wouldn't match as well with the orange and yellow is. But I'm not a good color person, so I'll defer to experts.
Well, so let's look at that. So we talked about this, what we're gonna do here, right, Joe?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back up to the elevations of the car wash. So what is the color of this block? Is it a gray?
It's a gray,
Okay.
yes. It's very similar to what you
Okay.
see on Grosse Pointe.
And so, and then, so, no, go back to the, that one right there. Right there. So, is that the color you want with the signage? I mean, why wouldn't the $4 sign be backed with that shell yellow?
Well, the trick here is that we would prefer to plan them as separate ownership.
Okay. All
All
right, well, that's fine. So, yeah, if you want that distinction, then I get it. Okay.
Yeah. They will have related operations. You get gas at Shell, you're gonna get a cheaper car wash.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
doubt, but
yeah.
they are gonna be separate businesses
Okay.
eventually.
Okay. All right, well, I think as long as you treat the other.
I'm not freaked out about color.
Yeah. Okay.
It scares me.
And then I think on this particular site, the awnings are fine.
Are they even necessary here? I mean, 'cause
No,
there's a
that's
lot
what I'm
of-
saying. I'm
yeah.
saying awnings are fine not
Yeah,
to do,
signage.
yeah.
Yeah, because there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's way too much, or a lot going on, not way too much. But. All right,
In this one, you do have the two doors. We would prefer to keep those metal, and we can paint them so that they match the
Yeah.
facade more, but here that we'd like to keep them metal.
yep,
Yeah, that's understandable
Yep.
here.
different environment.
Yeah, and you're far enough back from the street. I know the other one you're far back, but you are exposed.
There's so much
whereas-
going on there that you need the security of
Yeah.
having them hollow metal.
Yeah, by the time you pass that, you won't even see them.
All right,
So we've got that one sign with the free vacuums to deal with and the digital.
I mean, it matches the existing size, in my opinion. We'll let it go and let Plan Commission see if they object, but,
I like that you're adding masonry to the bottom.
yeah,
I think that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Well, they will need relief because the digital is too big.
right, but they'll work, you guys will work out something with that.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any comment? All right, Joe, what did you think about it?
I wasn't
Oh, he
following
just
it.
spoke last.
I
All right.
wasn't following that one. I was too busy.
Tom, you got it? Tom, give it a whirl, I'll whisper to you.
Me?
Yes.
I got it. I move that a certificate of appropriateness be granted for case number 2022-031A at 3301 -3307 Howard Street with the following provisions. That the car wash be approved as submitted, that relief be granted for the existing modified ground sign with the electronic messaging, that the, what are we calling that, gas station,
Yes.
convenience store, be treated south and east,
North and east.
North and east.
north and east, with new cladding, materials to be determined, and the south and west elevations be improved, materials to
Painted.
be determined,
Painted.
also, and
I think that's it.
I think that's it.
And no awnings are required.
Without the addition of any extra awning features.
Perfect. Anybody second?
I'll second.
Was
All
there
in
with
favor?
was there with the east man doors to kind of match the color to match the building?
North.
Yeah, but they'll do that. It's
Okay.
just, yeah. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed, so passed.
Great, thank you,
All
everybody.
right, great. Congratulations. We are now
Fantastic.
we have as many
Very
car
good.
washes as mattress stores. Any old business? No old business? Any public comment? No? No public comment? Okay, good. 8:25, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next month.
Thank you. Good luck.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Can you flip the switch?
Which one is it? The toggle?
Yes, all the way to the right.